Welcome back to the garage, guys. It is time for what you've been waiting for. Remember that original R1 I bought back in the middle of last year and you haven't seen it again on the channel? Well, it's finally time to do a few jobs on this bike. I've got chain and sprockets to replace, I've got new tyres to fit, basically go over the whole bike, see what it's like. I mean, I've ridden this twice since I bought it, so I really don't know. I fancy there might be something wrong with the forks. There might have been the oil in the forks. I'm going to take the forks out, have a good look at the forks. Also, I've got to take off this alarm system on this bike. It's driving me mad, flattening the battery. So I've charged the battery up. We've got to take the alarm off this bike and basically prep this machine for this year, really, for the season. So we can ride it, we can see what it's like, we can do some comparisons with it, and eventually we're going to be giving this bike away or selling tickets so you get the chance to win this motorcycle on the channel. That'll happen probably in the summertime. So this bike could end up being yours. So that's got to be worth watching, isn't it? So set yourselves down, get a cup of tea, make yourself comfortable, and Chopsy, roll the intro. So let's just go over the bike first of all. Before we start anything, let's have a quick look around this machine. Now, this is a 1999 Yamaha R1. Now, these came out in 98, so this is the original 4XV model number, but not on the first year of manufacture, the second year of manufacture. The year after this, it was changed slightly. You know, they made some updates to it, but this is the original 4XV R1. Now, obviously this is in the blue, the best colour, the blue colour. Some people will tell you the red and white's the one to have, but no, I think it's the blue. I think it's the blue, the one you want. Funny enough, I've got a blue one. But it's all pretty good condition, this machine. You know, for I think it's got about 25,000 miles on it. We'll have a look in a minute. But everything's pretty good nick, to be honest, on the surface. But what's it going to be like when we get the fairings off? We get in here, we're going to do an oil change. It's got the original end can on it, carbon fibre, don't you know? I do have a Scorpion exhaust, but I'm not going to fit that. I like this bike being original, so we're going to leave the original exhaust on this machine. But one of the big issues with this, look at that chain and sprocket. That is pretty, it's safe, but that's not seen much maintenance. So I'm going to put a new chain and sprocket kit on this bike. And basically go through it, see what we're like. I mean, it's a little bit mucky in here. See what it's like overall. One of the main jobs, as I say, is getting that alarm system off. It's got a data tool alarm and it just flattens the battery all the time. So first of all, I think what we're going to do, I'm just going to start unbolting things from this. Take the lower fairings off, maybe lift the tank as well, and have a look under the rear seat cowl. See where this alarm, I've got to get to the loom properly to be able to remove this alarm system. So I think I'm probably going to take all the panels off the back, maybe the fuel tank off, and the lower fairings for changing the oil. So first of all, let's get stripping. Little quick release fastenings there. Are they original, anybody? Tell me if they are. Put a big light on. Oof. Belly pan off. So quick look under that fairing. It all looks pretty reasonable. Filter looks more or less new, doesn't it? So it must have had recent oil, which I think that's what the guy said who I bought it from. I think he said it had recent oil. Exhaust valve, all's topped up. All seems pretty reasonable under there, doesn't it? I'm tempted, as I'm here actually, just to take these centres off as well, just so we can see a little bit more of what's going on. So I'm going to take those off as well. So that's the mid fairings off. First of all, I've noticed it doesn't seem to have any coolant in it, so I'd have to check what we've got in the radiator. But yeah, pretty easy to remove all of this stuff. And then this side, you've got a little bit of foam look just in between the radiator there. But yeah, again, looks pretty good all in there. I've obviously got to remove this cover here for getting the front sprocket off, But, you know, all was pretty good. Look at the weld quality of these. It's nice, isn't it? Really, really nice. And I wish modern superbikes, they'd bring back aluminium beam cast frames, because they're absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? Absolutely gorgeous. Bring back the proper Delta box frame, Yamaha, please. The most amazing thing about these old sports bikes is just look at the size of the seats, how comfortable. There's actually a load of padding in there as well. You know, they were much more geared up for being road bikes, you know, super bikes from this era. And if we look under the seat there, I mean, look at the width, you know, the width you've got here. Battery's out because that's currently on charge. So I think I've removed a couple of poppers from the underside of these panels. So we'll take the rear seat off, and then probably some fixings under here somewhere. The tail fairing's off, mainly held on with the plastic push-on clips, these type of things, which they still use on modern bikes. I'm surprised it had these. I didn't realise they used these sort of even back in the early 2000s. So it's held on mainly with those, but as you can see, actually looks pretty darn tidy. I think this bike is relatively original and not messed about with too much. That's the offending item. That's what I want to remove, that alarm. I don't know how, there's a bit of loom going into it. I don't know how integrated this is with the whole bike. I suspect it's piggyback somewhere. So if you just remove that or cut it out, it's not going to work, because it would have, you know, basically isolated a critical component, probably like the main power feed or something. So we need to take this off carefully, see where it's integrated with the original wiring loom. There's a little wire here which must have been a little LED to show the alarm's armed. I didn't notice that before. We'll just cut that out. Yeah, okay. Let's put the tank up. Let's get the tank raised. Let's raise the tank. It's pivoted at the back. You can see there's two or three. There's two breathers, one main fuel feed by the look of it. Again, under the fuel tank, very, very nice. Really nice, in fact. I'm just going to take the cover off the airbox. I think the guy has replaced the filter recently, but we'll just check the filter's new still. There's also a fuel filter here, which again looks really new, that, but perhaps we'll replace that as well. And then of course we've got the carbs. Again, all looks incredibly clean under here. The whole bike is incredibly clean under the bodywork, which makes me wonder if someone hasn't gone over this, you know, fairly recently. This is exactly what you want to see, isn't it, when you're taking your new bike apart first time. Blimey, yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that's a new filter. If we look inside, you can just see the throttle bodies in there. These are rubber by the look of it, the little Venturis. Well, I think based on how well it's gone so far, and the fact that I know that it runs perfectly, you know, from a fueling point of view, I'm not going to start messing with the carbs. The carbs seem to be set up and running lovely, so I'm not going to remove the airbox and start checking the carbs out, because there's no reason to. So that is the bike stripped down. So I guess the first job I want to do is actually get that alarm off. So let's start tracing through where that's connected on the bike and see how easy it's going to be to take off. You can see the actual unit definitely connected in the back here. There's, okay, so it's got a little wire, you know, for the RF, for the fob to work, and then we come out of here, and all this is part of the alarm wiring. So this is bike loom, this one is bike loom, because that goes into the back lights. This one is alarm loom. Okay, I had a little play. So first of all, these ones here aren't part of the standard loom, that's all part of the alarm. It looks like they've been taped alongside the standard loom, which comes down to here. Then there's a takeoff which goes to the CDI, to the ECU, and then this carries on down here. And I wonder if we're integrated it down here at all as well. Ooh, that looks like it is heavily integrated into the bike loom, I think. Okay, leave it with me. I'm going to do a bit of investigation and I'll come back to you. Give us a second. So I have refitted the battery. I've pulled out the wires. The wire loop, this is the alarm wiring here. That was going down and it was piggybacking off the fuel pump. Also the rear brake light switch as well was piggybacking through it. So I've took that out, clipped those back in to where they go without having anything piggybacked. If I turn it on now, I get fuel pump making a noise. The speedo's coming up and doing that, which would tend to indicate some sort of fault, and it won't start. It won't start. So it must be these wires here at this end, which I need to find. These go down here. I thought maybe they go into this ECU, so I pulled out the ECU, couldn't see anywhere where it was connected, but perhaps it's here. So I need to have a look in this wiring here to see where these wires are integrated and see if we can remove it, because I think the alarm is stopping it from firing. So a little bit more investigation needed, but we are sort of getting somewhere. I really wish I'd tried to start it now before I started, just to make sure, you know, the battery was charged and it was all ready to go. I really should have done that. The reason I'm a little bit confused is you've got these, the alarm was connected into here, which look like they're earths, but I thought maybe these were part of the alarm system, but now I'm thinking perhaps these are part of the standard loom, because they seem so well integrated into the actual loom. You know, the actual taping, of retaping all this after adding these cables, I don't believe the alarm company would have done such a good job. And I can't see where these go. I've had all of this lot out here. None of these connectors seem like they've been hacked into or any wiring been added or soldered into. So I think these must be part of like a diagnostic system for the standard setup. Yeah, I've done a bit of, tried to do some Googling, but I can't find anything about those. But it's weird the way the alarm was connected to them. So, but it just looks too neat a job to me to be part of the alarm system. And like I say, I can't see where they're actually connected. So I could try and strip all this back and sort of pull them out. But at the moment, I'm going to proceed as if the alarm is off now. And these were just part of the standard loom setup. And assuming the battery is now too flat to turn the bike over, or I've not connected something right somewhere. Look at all that room you've got in the back of there for your lunch. So I've connected the battery back on the battery charger, and it's showing it's got under 25% charge. So could well be a battery, could be the battery why it's not starting. So I think I'm going to have to replace the battery. There's obviously been too many times this has been flattened now. So the GX has very valiantly donated its battery for testing. So we've got it in, got it fitted, got it connected. It's much smaller, the GX battery. It's amazing how much smaller the batteries are these days. So with the GX battery fitted, let's have another go, see what happens. Pull the clutch, can't remember if you have to or not. No. It's not. There's something wrong. It's not just battery related. Good morning and welcome back. It is now the following day. Last night I went online, did a bit of research, posted up some pictures on my social media stuff to see if we had any 4XV experts who could help me identify what that was. And it seems the consensus is the R1 came with some factory integrated loom connection points. So those are for the alarm, but they're factory fittings. That's why they look so original. You know, they're there so external companies can plug in their alarm systems into the bike. It's obviously designed, you know, for the data tool alarm from Yamaha. So that's why it all looks so integrated. So what I've done, a bit of research, people are suggesting you can bridge a couple of wires and then that will bypass the alarm. So I've got the alarm open, have a quick look at this. So I've got the cover off the alarm and that's what you'll see inside. And some people have suggested, it's not this exact version, the ones I've seen online, it's different to this, it looks different. I don't know what version of the data tool alarm this is, but in one of the posts I said, people have said you bridge these two outer cables together and that should then disable it, because one of these connectors is for, I think, the fuel pump. The other one is for, I think, the ignition system. So that's how it's immobilizing the bike, basically. So we need to piggyback. So what I might do is cut these connectors off, just cut them off, and then play about looping and connecting these wires together to see if we make the circuit to get the pumping and the ignitioning. Get the ignition working. This alarm is not going back on the bike, so I'm going to butcher it. I'm going to cut it off here, expose the wires, and I can twist them together and see if that makes a difference. So that's my plan. That's my plan. Let's do some alarm butchering. Butcher of Bakersfield. So I'm going to cut them off. That's it. We're committed now. We are committed. Take off that bit of sheathing. And then basically work out what we're going to, or maybe we just connect them all together, or it might just be a pair of them needs connecting together. Obviously this one's only got two, so this is easy. We just bridge these two. Perhaps as the fuel pump only has two, it's only a 2-pin connector, this could be the fuel pump. So let me just strip this off of here. Oopsie, don't do that again. Let's connect that to the bike. See if I can now hear the fuel pump doing something. If I can hear one of the things doing something, then that's a start, isn't it? I've still got the GX battery in it, so the GX battery is still being in the bike, so I know the battery's good. So let's turn it on. Yeah, I'm not hearing any fuel pump noises. Nope, still nothing, still nothing. Rubbish. Rubbish! I wanted to avoid it, but looks like we've got to get technical. We've got to break out the multimeter, which means I've got to remember how to use it. The battery's flat. That's annoying, isn't it? So, because my multimeter doesn't work, even after putting new batteries in it, bloody typical, I've basically, going on the information I had that it was the two outside wires, I've basically pulled all of the sheathing off of this connector and pulled back the two wires on the outside. So the two wires on the left, I've traced that through. Those are the ones which go to the fuel pump. So, and I've already connected the fuel pump. So they're not part of it. These two on the right do go to that block of connectors. So I've just pulled them through, and what I've done on the bike, let me show you. Because all the wires are the same colour, to make it really difficult for thieves, it also makes it difficult to remove it from the bike in a genuine fashion, obviously. But I've worked out which of these are pairs, paired them off, twisted them together, obviously connected them. We've got this one also, this is the double cable, because, you know, there's no wrong way to do that. Done that, done that. So then let's see if the bike is going to fire now. Brilliant. There we go, sorted. Sorted. I've managed to remove that alarm. So that one, maybe that one's not needed. I don't know what to do. I'll connect that one as well and find out which wires those are. Connect them in the order they should be connected. But yeah, that's it. That's all you need to bridge those. So I just need to make these into proper little factory fit connectors now and solder these up, a bit of heat shrink over them. Job done. Goodbye. Never want to see you again. Yes, I really must empty my bin. So there we go. There's my 3 little connectors, soldered, heat shrunk, ready to go back on the bike. And hopefully it will start still. I think you can actually buy these, possibly. But we don't need to buy them because I've made them. Bingo! So there we go, my efforts have paid off. I didn't expect it to take me 5 hours to get the alarm off of the bike, but finally we are there. She is alarm free. So I'm going to put the original battery back on, give the GX back its battery, and then we'll see how we get on with that battery. See if that battery's good enough now that alarm's off it and not draining it all the time. So job 1 complete. I'm well happy with that. I was getting a little bit worried at one point that I wasn't going to get that alarm off it. So thanks for you guys online who helped me out. The internet, what did we do before the internet came about, eh? The moment I've really been waiting for. getting this bloody alarm fob off of the key. Rubbish. So the alarm is now sorted, thank God. Ooh, smells nice. There's no rattles, there's no knocks. There we are. So I have decided to replace the clutch. It's quite the colour.